Hey y'all, I'm Mayer Cunningham, the special education boss. If you've ever felt confused, overwhelmed, or just plain frustrated at the 504 IEP table, you are in the right place. Every week, I'm breaking down the rules, the rights, and the realities of special education so you can walk into meetings informed, empowered, and ready to make real change. And whether you're a parent, a teacher, an advocate, a school-based member, or somebody who's just trying to do right by a student, this podcast gives you straight talk, real answers, and tools that you can use immediately. I'm not here to play politics. I'm not here to play sides. I'm here to train people who sit at the table and teach you how to follow the law, ask the right questions, and protect the rights of students. So go ahead and hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change. We're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. Hey guys, welcome back. If we haven't met, I'm Mayer Cunningham, special education boss, training everyone that sits at the 504 IEP table to navigate and negotiate successful student outcomes. We're excited to have Michelle Williams on tonight. She has a powerful story and is a lifelong educator and running for office to make change. And so, Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. So tell us how you became an amazing educator.
So I started teaching in 99, 2000. I graduated from Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. I come from a family of educators, and I started my first year teaching job in Houston ISD in 99, 2000. So I've been teaching, I started out teaching elementary, but I moved over to teaching mathematics only. I have taught in rural, urban, and suburban schools. I've been out of classrooms, served on leadership teams. So I have a wide lens throughout my 26 years of teaching.
And so I love that obviously you got a classroom set up behind you. It's what you do, right? For teachers, it's not like they couldn't teach. And so teachers have so many amazing skills. Tell us the good part of teaching over those years.
So it was really good. I can say the friends that I've made over the years and the collaborative nature of education, my students, I've taught so many. I can remember one student, she was like, I was in Chick-fil-A drive-through on 59. She said, did you used to teach sixth grade math at Burbank Middle? She said, you were my math teacher. And one thing I loved about her, she said, you told good jokes.
Oh,
so awesome. The kids are always great.
Yeah. So did you, and I know it's different for all educators. Some educators went to school to be an educator, and they're going to be a fourth grade teacher until they're done. And then others I see are, because they're leaders, they sort of, I don't want to say climb the ladder, but work up the process. Mm-hmm. Were you just, I want to be in the classroom? Did you want more of an administration role?
So I'm gonna be honest with you. I was a single parent, so I wanted to be a nurse, and I knew that that schedule wasn't going to work for me. So I became a teacher, and I stayed in the classroom until my son graduated from high school because I wanted to do all the things and make sure I was available for him. I did move out of the classroom once he graduated from high school. I got my principal's certificate while I was gallivanting in Louisiana, but I let it expire because I really didn't like the idea of pseudo principals. Everybody was always telling you how to run the campus, what to do, but you never were in control of the campus, and I didn't like it. And I was out of the classroom as a math interventionist. Didn't like that as well because the school district doesn't allow you to support teachers the way that they need to be supported.
And so just kind of going back to the principal thing. So you're not allowed to run the campus? Isn't that the whole point of principaling?
It used to be. When I first started teaching, I think it stopped being that way when we had ladder climbers. We used to have people that actually wanted to be principals and stay principals 10, 20 years. But, everybody wants another title. Everybody wants to make it to the administrative building. And we just started having a revolving door. Then they changed the qualifications for principal. You only need 3 years. What are you going to tell a teacher who's been teaching 26 years and you've only taught three probably in kindergarten?
Yeah. I see a lot of principals because people are super excited when I'm in an IEP meeting. And there's the principal that's in charge of behavior. Is that the low rung on the totem pole? Because it always seems to be the newest one.
Yes. And it's designed that way,
Okay.
unfortunately. And they have a lot of research about it, not pairing the newest ones with your highest needs. But I guess the school system didn't read that book.
The school system. You and I had talked before. One of the things that, as I don't want to say that education has gone down, but it's obvious to me on the outside that we are not supporting teachers. And so I know that you get a degree, you learn about that in school. Over the years, have you seen an increase, a decrease of, and I don't mean just here's your professional development, but really teaching and supporting teachers? Is it the same as it always been?
No. When I first started teaching, I had a lot of support. I had veteran teachers that were there. We did a lot of training in Houston ISD. Houston ISD was a great school district and a teaching school district for teachers. When I first started teaching, that went away when the legislature started focusing on other things other than the public school system. We used to have Eisenhower workshops, and then we had the greening of education, meaning our veteran teachers started to leave. And then you had new teachers trying to teach new teachers. And for me, I was suddenly became the veteran teacher, but at the time I wasn't veteran, I was experienced. And, with all these new teachers, it takes a teacher at least about 5 years to really own their craft when it comes to education.
And so are they, I'll be in a meeting and they'll say, Michelle has access to this training. And so does that mean you just get to log into Region 4 and just spend your evenings watching videos? What does that mean?
That's what it has become. These trainings, when you start up a school year, and Houston ISD is the largest school district in the state of Texas, it's like starting the engine on the largest airplane you can imagine. It's a slow turn, and you're starting it up, and the teachers are starting up that as well. But for new teachers, it's like a first time experience. They have to learn how the grade book, they have to set up their classrooms. They have to, all of these compliance trainings that you have to do on your own. Then you have to create lesson plans. And then you have a classroom that you've never run before. So it is a monumental task. And giving a first year teacher, or really just any teacher, something to watch, it doesn't work well. You're on mute.
When you go back to school, that back to school week or 2 weeks, is that mostly professional development? Is that what teachers are doing? What is that time?
It's a sit and get type of environment. And you're taught that, and most of us, like for me, I didn't pay attention. I mean, it's the same stuff every year. And the things that matter, they don't allow us to do, like collaborating with your team. If you're a first year teacher, getting with your mentor, they don't allow you to do that. It's a sit and get. And HISD has become the worst for it. They give you these AI slides and tell you what you're supposed to do. You're no longer teaching. Teaching is a craft. When I was teaching, and even now, I still create my own lessons. That internalizing, that's foolishness. I'm going to internalize the lesson. That's like me trying to internalize your thoughts. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really is. So teaching is not teaching anymore.
Right. I was at the George Brown Convention Center, and when Michelle says it's the largest district in Texas, when we say big in Texas, we mean big. It's 250,000 children, right? And at one time, I was at George R. Brown, and it was part of back to school for teachers, and there were just hundreds of them in the halls, and they were going back and forth to these breakout rooms. And I was like, wow, this doesn't seem very individualized or helpful. And they were just they had to check off that they went to your room and Karen's room and Sally's room, and they looked miserable. And I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this.
It is.
Yeah.
It is a better way, but they don't listen to the teachers about what we need. For me, as a veteran teacher, I don't need much. But yet they're constantly trying to tell me how to teach when I can teach teachers how to teach. I have the knowledge and experience, not from somebody's seat at Hattie Mae in Houston ISD. But they don't allow us to do that anymore. And it's a hostile takeover of our school system, with dire consequences for children, because you're not really learning anything, and we're just passing children. And you know what? They're not even getting the bare minimum when it comes to education.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. When I moved here 20 years ago, that was obviously where I had most of my clients. And now this is the only district, county, or city in the United States of America that at this moment I will not take a client, because I know what happens. It doesn't matter what we write down. When I know that we have 2 or 3 people at the IEP meeting, I'm like, I feel like we don't have all the stakeholders. She's like, it's fine. And people would come into the IEP meeting, stand, ask mom and dad if they need anything. He's doing great. I'm assigned here. You guys have a good year. I'm like, are we filming? Is this, am I being spoofed here? And so I was like, this is craziness. And so tell us about when, and they might be aligned at the same time, but when the district was taken over, and then we had new great leadership come in to Houston ISD. And then when you filed a complaint, was that at the same time?
No. So the first year, I was put up for termination because, the superintendent that they put in, he doesn't like to be told that he's wrong. So I just really got tired of him saying ugly things in the press about unions and teachers. So I got a text message from one of the reporters from Channel 11, and she was like, I want to comment. That's what reporters do. I want to comment from you about what Mike Miles said about you. Have you ever been invited to the NES? Me? I've never been invited to the NES schools. So since he made a public invitation, I took it upon myself to make my acceptance public. And he didn't really like that I told him that I was more qualified than the people he employs. So he came after me that Monday morning. I knew he was coming, but he put me up for termination that first year. And I was just like, you know what? We're tired of you and your ugly comments about teachers.
Right.
That next year, which was 2025, that's when it happened. I have a son that had IEP in mathematics. I've gone to bat for countless children who I've taught with IEPs or misdiagnosis. I had a student that was came from another school with a intellectually disabled label. And I was like, if she was an ID student, her chart would not be growing.
Right.
So I was fighting to get that label removed, because we know what happens when children have those labels. But I had a substitute come and say, Michelle, hey, these kids in the structured learning class, which we call life skills class, they are being put in the general ed class. So I was like, what? So, trust but verify. So I walked to verify.
Oh,
And
I
it was
love. I'm going to say
happening.
that phrase. Trust but verify. That's good.
Yeah. I verified it, and all of the children that were supposed to be in the structured learning class have been dropped into the gen ed class.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I had a family that I served. He had graduated, but which was when I decided to deboard about 10 years ago. And she said, "We just put that in the paperwork, but we're really going to put him in general ed because he does really good if we just give him a movie." I'm like, "Are you telling that to me, the mouth of the South?" And she meant it, right? And I was like, and both parents were attorneys, and they were like, as long as he's happy. So, no, he needs to be equipped, right? This is not about being happy. This is about the next 80 years. That's why we have special education. So, you did the complaint and kind of tell us how you got to where you and HISD broke up.
So, I did both complaints. It was two. One for Ben Brooks' structured learning class, and the other one was for them denying students the implementation of students' IEPs. So people don't know this. If you suspect that your child has a disability, in statute, it states that the teacher is supposed to implement interventions as if the child has an IEP until we verify that the child does not have one. Now, I was taught that and it's in the statute. So I had a student who had cerebral palsy. He had not been at school. This was a third grader. He had a contracted arm and leg, so he was not he was ambulatory, but with assistance. And I had another student that I had retained the year before so he could get services. They did not want me to service the child or those children. So I raised the alarm. I even went to the board meeting before I filed the complaint because I didn't want to file the complaint. So,
Right.
but they weren't listening. So I filed the complaint on the 22nd. On the 26th, Houston ISD got my complaint. And TA makes it difficult because what happens is if you file a complaint, they send it to everybody. Mike Miles got it, and everybody else got it. So they came and got me.
So when you say they came and got you, tell us what that means.
They put me on administrative leave. First of all, they blindsided me at Benbrook, the chief of the North Division. And before that, when I spoke at the board meeting, he showed up in my classroom the next day. I sent an email to the former chief of HR, and because I won protection from retaliation from my first hearing because they had retaliated against me and it was documented in the first hearing. So the chief of, unbeknownst to me, the chief of HR, her hands were tied and they told her not to talk to me or to respond to my emails, which is against the law because I'm an
Right.
employee and people
Yeah.
don't know that. So that's how, HISD and I parted ways because they didn't like that I filed that complaint.
And it was substantiated.
Yeah, both of them were substantiated.
And so they let you go or put you on leave because you're amazing. What was the reason?
Yeah, they don't want any pushback and they don't want to follow the law. We are in a lawlessness when it comes to education. They do not want to educate special education students. And I don't know how else to say that I'm telling you, as a teacher, I
Right.
have taught 26 years, countless children, and never in my career have I had an administrator tell me to break the law. First of all, it goes against our educator code of ethics,
Right.
which states that we're supposed to follow all board policies, state statutes, and federal law. But you have people telling you not to follow the law.
Right.
And it blows my mind because I don't think people understand what that means. When you sign an IEP, that's a contract with teachers. If that teacher signs the IEP, that's a legal binding contract saying that you are going to implement those IEPs that are stated. That's why they have to get your signature.
And they read those assurances.
Yep.
I really don't like when I say at the end of the meeting, sometimes, Michelle, the student's been denied their assurances. No, she read it, ma'am. Right. And we read the assurances just in case you guys don't know, because IDEA is a federal grant program. It's a money program, right? At the beginning of every year, every state writes a letter to Congress. Dear Congress, this is Wisconsin, Alabama, Texas. We pinky swear promise Boy Scouts that we are going to implement our obligations under IDEA, staff rooms, have the professionals, and provide them professional development. And then the government just sends you a big old check. And so, do you think the lawlessness in special education is solely in Houston ISD?
No.
Okay.
It's
And you,
going to happen all around the country. Disability Rights Texas put out a post yesterday about them relaxing the standard about least restrictive environment, which gave me pause because OCR has picked up HISD's case, which let me know that they're going to let them off the hook.
wow. So, well, you are certainly making sure that your rights are upheld and you're going into other avenues. You're not taking this laying down, correct?
Correct. I'm not.
Yeah.
Because it's wrong. First of all, it's wrong academically and morally. It's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. That you would rob the most marginalized population that you get extra funding for. And parents, you're a parent of a child with exceptionalities. We are not looking for 100%. We'll take a C minus all day long. But to act like you're doing us a favor, like it's coming out of your paycheck because you're somebody in the ivory tower. And I love that Michelle said it, right? I call it the bloated top of a school district. I call them the desks and the titles. Why don't you get up and go help? Why don't you go work? Why don't you go support? And it doesn't happen that much. And so you're going to handle that in the legal settings. That's amazing. So tell us what you're doing now and what's on the horizon for the great Miss Williams.
So for me, I have filed suit in federal court against Houston ISD. There's an administrative appeal, but as you know, justice is slow.
Slow, slow, slow,
So
slow.
it is slow. And the powers that be, Mike Morath and Greg Abbott, they don't want my case to come to light because it's solid. What parents don't know, everything, all of the appeals, like my case from 2024, is on the TA appeals website. But guess what is not there? The one from 2025. They don't want people to see it because it's a blueprint for other teachers. They're making it difficult for me because I know the law and I understand. Oh, this thing is moving. I understand that. I don't know why it's moving that way. That you know we have rights, and teachers like me, they're trying to get rid of them. So I decided to run for state representative because the fight is in Austin. I can no longer fight from the classroom. It's too difficult. They're choking the life out of us with laws, and we need to flip several seats in Harris County. We need to flip at least 12 in the state of Texas to take back our schools. I am building a coalition of attorneys, education attorneys, and parents and teachers to be the voice of our children. No longer can we sit silently. I met with a special education attorney yesterday from Fort Bend County, and she was telling me that the abuse in the structured learning classes has increased tenfold. She said, and even on camera, the things that they're doing to these children. But that's a state issue. That is not an issue that teachers are have because they let anybody in to teach children. There's no training. There's nothing to support teachers, especially of the most vulnerable. What Mike Miles did is when he first came, he got rid of the autism program. Why?
Right. And we're just dumping programs into each other. I have a case right now where we're about to come forward with it in a district in in the Houston area. And there are 6 teachers, paras, and the principal that physically abuse children. I don't mean like I'm having a bad day, like over and over again on video. And the principal sent an email to the teacher and said, please stop hurting the children. What? I think every special needs room should have a bay window like a daycare and a full live feed, right? Because we need to have a bay window because these are other people, these are other humans, these are other general ed students who receive services, and it not be the room down the hall so that we can start to at least mitigate that a little bit. So how can we support you as you run for office?
You can support me. You don't have to be in my district. And what I tell parents, advocates, or attorneys, or anybody who wants to support, there are 2 ways to support. You can support with your time, or you can support with your money with donations. Either one. If you don't have the time, any donation that you give can help our campaign. Running a campaign is very expensive. I'm not working. I'm constantly campaigning. I'm running to flip this seat. This seat has been in the hands of a person who does not support public ed, and we're trying to turn it back over to the people. So those are 2 ways. You can go to michelleforstaterep.com to support me because we don't have another election, and I can't. And I'm not saying that to fearmonger. I'm telling you all that from a teacher standpoint. Like I tell people, it is not on my bucket list to run for office. I was a teacher, and I tell people 5 minutes ago, I love teaching, but it's not it's not working. What they have in place, and I'm just compelled to do something about it. My seat is going to change. We're slated to win this race, but it's a heavy lift. We need parents
Right.
and people to speak out, especially about what's going on, and talk to your neighbors and pay attention for public ed, because your children, I'm telling you, especially special ed children, I am so afraid for them because I feel like they're going to institutionalize them.
Right. Right. So good. So, Angie, if you are available, I think we have both open. So we have the chat and the Q&A. Can you see those?
Yes. So, Ruth said, thank you for saying that. I've been fighting with my CISD about that. No, it's very much alive here in South Texas. Michelle responded and said, LRE and HISD games will hurt every child with a disability across the country. The appeal will go to the commissioner. This is unfair now with our leaders.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah, go ahead.
Morath has to go.
What did you say, Michelle?
I said Mike Morath needs to go. He's going to deny every appeal. I have a level 3 grievance that was denied in Houston, and it's going to his office, and it's going to end up in state court. So we're going to be going, and that's why elections are important, because those judges, they're going to be ruling on these cases. So because the commissioner's not going to step in.
So for this case for you, what sort of court is it?
I have one that's going to head to state court, and I have one that is going to that's in federal court. Okay. So Gianna Ortiz is that's an administrative law attorney. Okay. And Omar Kawaja is the federal attorney. So it's two different courts and two cases running parallel with one another.
But Mike Rath doesn't decide whether or not he's not the final decider, is he?
State court is. So it goes HISD, Mike Morath. If we don't agree with his finding, then it goes to state court.
Is that SOA?
No.
Is it like Travis County? Is it,
no, it's an appeals process.
Okay. So, but he is the one that decision.
It's like the Fox
in the house. Yeah, that sounds like a terrible idea. Yep. So we have a question in the Q&A. Do you see that, Lauren?
Yes, ma'am. All right. So can you speak more about how IDEA and SPED funding works? Our district performs as if they've never had any funding. Is there a way to track how much funding each district receives? What exactly do they do with the money?
Budgets are open to everyone. You just request them. It's public record. And they don't want to give it to you all. So ask your principal. That's how it's supposed to work for the line item budget for the school, and specifically special education. You can do an open records request. I don't know how open it's going to be, because they tried in HISD, they seem like any and everything to the Attorney General. That's the game that they're playing. Or you'll get an email from the attorney, and please don't be afraid of HISD attorneys, any school law attorney, because they are grifters. I'm going to tell you that right now. They grift, and they're out for money. And they give their client school districts bad advice on purpose so that they can get more money via billable hours. So ChatGPT, Claude, all of those people are your friend. Just take what the attorney sends you, put it in there, and ask what you're supposed to do, and send it back to them. So that's that it's open records. You don't have to tiptoe around. It's not a secret. It's not their money. It's your money.
We have an open records form that we'll put in as a resource for this. But she's right. It's funny. I'm nobody. I'm a college dropout. I got my degree in cutting toenails before I did this. And the amount of times that the school district attorneys sent a letter to Ken Paxton, please don't let Karen get open records. And I mean, it's for a 7-year-old that has dyslexia. Like, I think I know where the bodies are buried, but I think that y'all are way more dirty than I thought, right? And so, of course, the Attorney General is going to not really respond to them or respond to them. I don't know this, but if in fact of what you're saying, stuff like, if we give Karen open records, it could be a physical danger to teachers and safety. What? A wambulance. And so I'm like, Ken Paxton doesn't care about me. He's got other stuff to do. Like, but the attorneys are so terrified. Please help us. And they'll redact stuff. I mean, they are redact. I don't know who gets $600 an hour for redacting, but it's big business. And so we always say that, we had an attorney on last week, and she said, attorneys come and do a training beginning of the year, but their money is filing, right, and litigating. And some of that they start And so it just is true. Um, Michelle Harmon said, new finance system is going to hurt children. The Texas Tribune today gave me hope. There are more people like this that cannot be helped. The old and new finance system is extremely complicated. The school attorneys are rarely experts. Carol asks, does HISD use Walsh Gagos for SPED attorneys? So HISD, because they're a monster district, has always had in-house amazing attorneys. And I don't know who that is now, but what is the setup, Michelle? Are they using it?
They use any and everybody. And I'm going to give you a figure. $485,000. That's what HISD spent in litigation the last 6 months. And they use Spalding, Nichols, Lamp. As a matter of fact, I saw Mr. Lamp today. He has a hot temper. Yeah. They are constantly wasting taxpayers' money. They also use Rogers and somebody.
Rogers Morris.
Yes, they use them. Anybody that they can get their hands on. And here's the problem. HISD has its tentacles into all school side attorneys. If you go to TABC's website, it'll tell you who the school side attorneys are. I think it's 100 of them versus the attorneys that represent parents or represents parents or teachers. But here's my thing. Once I'm elected, that's on my radar. That's why I met with this brilliant special education attorney. We were talking about how to clip their wings. And the way is to file a bill to make sure that they first settle these cases really quickly. They use in-house attorneys, and you can only bill so much from an outside attorney. That's why electing people like me is the answer for our children. And we can put people like these grifters that are stealing taxpayers' money out of business so that children can actually be served. This special education attorney, she gave me an example. She said her case ended up in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals over 3 weeks of ESY. ESY is summer school.
Yeah, I know all of those lovely people. And some of those school district attorneys, I do think they eat toddlers for breakfast, and like live at the funeral home on the weekends. They're just not kind humans. And I don't know how you can be in a job where your job is to make sure the school wins and kids don't get services. That just is, mind blowing to me. Ruth said, I recently had to file a complaint with TEA. Oh, it moved. Let's see. I recently had to file a complaint with TEA, Special Populations, and with DOE, Civil Rights Division, on behalf of my own son. I did a PI request and got the one for my CISD. It's because of all the wrongs that have been done. I've chosen to go for jurisprudence and education and concentration in special education. God willing, I will start next month. Well, come on, we need you. The attorney for the CISD, and Ruth is at the amazing Conroe ISD. The attorney for CISD broke FERPA with my son, and I called an ARD. What a joy when I was when as a paralegal, I was able to prove her wrong in front of the superintendent and the IEP committee. I'm now an advocate for several teachers as well as parents in CISD. Mission CISD. Okay, well, go do it. And, one of the things that I do on this platform is we've got to raise up voices. Us complaining at lunch after church is a waste of time. These are humans, and how we serve them in school will impact the next 80 years. The good side of special ed is so good, but the bad side is worse than any cable show you've ever seen on HBO. And so I'm so excited to partner with Michelle. She's intelligent, articulate, passionate, and believes in children and believes in teachers. And we've got to bring change for sure in our state, because we are always fighting it out for 47th place or something ridiculous. And so thank you so much for being on. We are going to, at the top of the hour, we are going to go to a live link, and we're going to train you guys on how to fill out a state complaint if you're interested in that. And I'm bet that Lauren, can you drop that in the chat or the Q&A in case somebody doesn't? Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
can do that.
we're going to literally pull up the form and we are going to fill it out together. And so, we have to do what's right by kiddos. And so, Michelle, will you come back later in the year and tell us how your campaign's going and how people can continue to support you?
Yes, absolutely. Michelle for staterep.com, real simple. You can follow me on social media, Facebook. Michelle
What
for
is
State
the
Rep.
what is it Houston Educators? Is that also a page?
Yes, that is the union that I'm a part of.
Okay.
Houston Educators Education Association. We have a large following, and it has a long reach.
Yeah.
A lot that's going on. But yes, get involved. Your children are your like they're all you have, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And I'm here if you have any questions. We are having events. So follow me on Facebook and join the movement.
We are cheering you on. Anything we can do to partner with you, let us know. We'll be putting all of Michelle's information up, however you're getting this. Remember, it's not just a saying. When we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody. And we'll see you guys in the next training.
Hit subscribe, share this with a friend, and you know what? Meet me back here every single week. We're not just talking about change, we're making it. Because when you know better, you do better. And when we get it right for the child, we get it right for everybody.